What's going on, guys? This is Jordan with another episode of Undergraduate Survival Guide. Today we have one of the second specialist guests of all time, one of the only guy in the world to pick chemistry over maths. Only guy to
talk about that.
I can't remember where Hogan put you in. Like, for guys that don't know, but
He had me at the top.
He had you in the top. Yeah, he had like two charts. He had like a Venn diagram for like working hard and like being smart. He allocated everyone in the class apart from this guy. He's just like, Vonn's the GOAT. By default.
Yeah, that was a shocking, when I made that decision, that I fought a long while for that. I'm happy to talk about that later.
Yeah, we will. Actually, no, let's get into it early. Like,
no, but do we need background or anything, or?
Nah, it's fine. No one cares. Actually, yeah, we'll give a bit. So obviously, we both did further maths. We're going to talk in a sec about how you dropped it for chemistry, and then we ended up getting decent grades. We both went to Bristol. Obviously, you graduated way before me.
Carl, yeah.
With the legend of Carl. Have I got anyone else from St. Mars? No, not yet. Who else came to Bristol out of us? Obviously, Sam.
Sam, Jatin.
Tin, yeah.
I guess it's Katie Crenogue, Rachel Bangera.
Oh yeah,
there was quite a few.
Yes, surprisingly, I think Bristol, if not Kent, was one of the most most of our year group went to Bristol to come to uni, which is pretty interesting.
That's because we were Oxbridge rejects.
It's true. All of us applied to Oxford, Cambridge. None of us got in, apart from Michael. And the next best was just Bristol. Oh man. But yeah, how you been, man?
No, I'm good. Yeah, I've been back in London. Started teaching. It's a change. It's different. It's different from coming straight from uni and everything, especially like graduating during coronavirus, during lockdown, and starting a new job teaching during lockdown. Like, I feel like I've aged 4 years.
Mad. There must have been extra weird going like straight back into education as well, let alone like a job.
Sorry, can you repeat that? The connection died a little bit.
Oh, my bad. It's like I was saying, it must be extra weird as well. It's not like you're going into a generic job. It's literally like back into teaching as well, back into academics.
Yeah, it's weird because like I've gone from learning as a student at uni, and then now I've started a job which is very different from just like a standard kind of, office job, lab job. And it's like I've got such responsibility now in a new job, taking care of like kids essentially. But at the same time, I'm almost a student again because I'm having to learn how to teach like kids at school. It's like I'm back in education, both as a student and as a teacher, which is weird. Like, I know if you asked me kind of a year and a half ago whether I'd be a teacher, I would have kind of laughed and said, I don't know. I don't think that's like I could see myself. But now that I'm here and more thought about it, like I genuinely love my job.
I feel like teaching, like you talked about, before the call as well, how you have like 19 weeks holiday. The pay's not even that bad. Obviously you get like pension and all the typical employer benefits. Like, teaching actually sounds like a motive. Maybe not straight after I graduate, but in the long term, it's definitely a good job to have. I think.
I find like, because the reason I didn't want to get into teaching in the first place is because one of my cousins works at the school which I'm at the moment, just as a non-teaching staff, and she came around and said, "Oh, why didn't you think about teaching like this time last year?" I said, "Oh, I don't want to because you have to go back into uni, like get your PGCE, like find placement jobs, and they place you in like middle of nowhere towns in like really poor schools, and you have to deal with like loads of behavioural issues at the same time." And she was just like, "Oh no, if you go into independent schools, so private schools, you can go straight in and you get the degree on the job, essentially, get all the learning on the job. And there's just loads and loads of benefits. And I thought that's actually like, I never knew
Nice.
that.
Mm.
So I looked into it. The benefits were great. Obviously there's always holiday, but like you do work a little bit at holidays. But even just pension, healthcare, the fact that the school I work at is a bus ride away, so I'm saving money on rent and travel. Like I'm not spending like hundreds on a travel card zone 1 to 6 every week. Yeah, it's just a lot nicer, and like it just feels more rewarding as a job because you're almost instantly seeing like results. Like you teach a kid, you do a test, and you instantly see how well they've done after like the work you put in. It was quite nice.
That's true. I feel like I was talking to my friend who did an engineering internship, and
Yeah,
he was saying like it's so difficult because some of these projects take like 10, 20, 30 years, and
yeah,
you can be there for half a decade, 2 decades, and not even see the rewards of your project. Whereas
yeah,
obviously, as you say in school, it's like literally the next day, put a test in front of them, see how they improve, and it's like that instant gratification just must seem so rewarding.
yeah. Like I had a thing, right? So my second year, so my year 8s, they like I find that teaching them is a lot harder because like in year 8, you really don't really care about what you're doing.
Mm.
Like you're not an exam year, you're not year 7 anymore. And one of the kids like just wasn't really doing well in his first test. And like I was kind of sitting there like going, like taking it personal. I was like, crap, what am I doing as a teacher that's like failing these kids? Comes to the second test just before Christmas. He went from like a 33% to 96%.
Whoa.
And I was just like, I was just like gobsmacked. And then he sent me an email, like no prompt or anything. He just sent me one out of nowhere going, thank you, sir. You really helped me improve like on these topics. And I feel like I'm really confident in chemistry now. And I just kind of sat there. I was like, that was just a good way to end the term. And like, that was that gratification, like, and that kind of confirmation that like what I'm doing is worth it. Like I'm doing something and I'm seeing the results from that. Like I'm reaping the rewards already, like a month in rather than waiting 50 years or maybe never.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing in like chemistry, whether it's kind of obviously pharmaceuticals, that could take like decades for anything to come out because that's past so many things. I worked quite a bit of materials during my placement year, and it's like I was just working a lot of the beginning stages of projects, and these projects are years long, and I was only there a year, so it was like you didn't really see the product from start to end. I saw loads of different products at different stages, but I didn't see one product all the way through, which is like it's not really it's kind of disheartening because you're just like, oh, I'm not really getting to see the end of it.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Like I don't know. I mean, it sounds like you're similar to me, but it's like we kind of just you want to measure your impact in some,
Yeah,
tangible way. It's not like, oh yeah, I did a bit of this and a bit of that. It's like actually, this is what I did and these are the results I got from it.
yeah. I think that's probably. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we like numbers too much. No,
That's nuts. How come I mean, I guess you have a chemistry degree and like you're obviously passionate about chemistry, but I would have thought, I mean, obviously I'm not applying for a teaching role, but I would love to do something easy like PE or drama. Like, how come you picked one of the harder ones to teach?
I can't choose my thing. I mean, I've got a friend that graduated same year as me, and he's like currently the only job that he could find was a maths intervention teacher.
Oh man.
He's basically teaching like year 11s that need that C grade. Like because we have skills in chemistry that's transferable to maths and doing maths, like it'll be fine. But yeah, I only have a degree in chemistry, so I can only really teach chemistry. I have a few friends that are teaching now that they teach maths, but because they did a little bit of economics just at uni, they've been asked to teach economics as well.
Okay.
But they've said that it's just difficult because they're having to learn a completely new subject now as well.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. So I didn't realize they actually put you into because obviously your degree is, specialized to some degree. Yeah. But like, you don't need to be an expert at like geography to teach A level. Well, maybe A levels you do, but like GCSE geography, you don't really need to be an expert at that. I assume you could just pick any module and kind of go with it.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the teachers, she's part of the chemistry department. She only teaches chemistry year 10 and 11. But she's like mainly a biology teacher. So sometimes if your degree, like say if I did a degree in chemical physics, I could also probably teach up to some level of physics as well.
Okay.
It just kind of depends on your experience. Yeah. And like the thing about this school is, usually if you go into a state school and you have a science degree in one of the like 3 core sciences, you would be asked to teach biology, physics, chemistry up to GCSE, so year 7, 8, 9. But because this school all the way through, because they're an independent school, they have their sciences separate all the way. So chemistry in year 7 is a complete different subject than biology in year 7. So
okay.
that way I'm not having to teach biology and physics. Like I hate biology. I would have hated to teach year 7 biology.
Yeah.
Physics, I don't mind. Like I grew to really like physics. And I kind of regret not taking it at A level, but.
Okay, I hear you. Yeah, I actually forgot that our lower school science was all, just the same. Like we
I
did.
don't remember any of the lessons.
I don't remember any. Actually, I remember the sex education one for the wrong reasons.
Oh no, I remember because my older brother went to the school as well.
Okay.
And he said, oh, they have this, like when they do the sex education thing and teach how to put on a condom, they have like a blue modeled penis.
Okay.
And our biology teacher came out at the time with a test tube and just without even thinking, was like, oh, sir, why are we using a test tube? And he realized what it meant. He knew that like I had an older brother and he probably told me what it meant. He just sighed and went, go get that briefcase in the corner. And then he modeled it on the actual model, which was funny.
That's hilarious. Flipping hell, man. I don't think we even had that. I think our class was just so mature at the time that our teachers like, oh, screw it. We're not doing this.
I don't know. I think if you're going to do it, you might as well be anatomically correct, right?
Very true. To be fair, I feel like they should teach it at a higher age. Like I think we had ours at like year 7, year 8, and obviously we're way too young to take it seriously.
I guess in some ways that's true. Like teach it at an age where people are close to doing it, but at the same time, the earlier you teach it, the earlier like kids know kind of protection, STIs, just scares of pregnancy and stuff, or just how to be safe in general. Like you kind of reap the rewards earlier. Like that, just you wouldn't be having so many like 13-year-old pregnancies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even though like even say if at our school that risk was low, better to reduce that risk anyway than have that risk at all.
Yeah. No, I agree. On that, like a follow up, I guess, do you think your perception on how teaching works has changed now that you're a teacher compared to when you were a student?
I don't know, like I have a bit more respect for teachers in terms that I've realized that these guys are humans. Like I've seen teachers just sit there in the office just kind of like, this is crap. Like, or just like, just complaining about different kids and stuff and just saying like, I'm just not having a good day. But I've always had somewhat of an interest of just the how the education system works, whether that be at the school level or even at uni level, just how it all runs. So I've always kind of thought about it that way, and like, you know, I've always just liked teaching people stuff, whatever it is. So, yeah.
Okay.
It,
I get that. Do you think, because obviously you talked about the student that you helped him go from like 33 to 96 or whatever it was,
yeah,
specifically, do you think, because like when I was in school, I never believed my teachers at all. I was like, everything that I do is kind of like on my back. But obviously when
yeah.
you're a teacher now, it's like, they improved because of me. Like, where do you think the line is between how much you can feasibly teach someone versus like how much work they have to put in?
I mean, it's a balance. Like, it's always like, I don't always think like what I'm doing. It's not all me. It's like, you have to meet halfway. Like, there's only so much that I can provide resource wise. I could give them all the tests in the world, all the practice questions, all the notes, all the diagrams, all the stuff they have to know. I could teach them and go through it slowly. But at the end of the day, it's up to them whether they want to engage with all the resources. And like, I can't hold the students' hands all the way, checking them, making sure they're doing every single question. Because, I mean, there's not enough time in the world.
Mm.
There's so many other students I'd have to do it to, and it just wouldn't teach them good life skills. Like, wouldn't teach them just general independence. Like, a huge thing of just like learning is just learning how to, the actual learning skills. Like, yes, I'm teaching to get them through the grade, but also I'm teaching them just to be a well-rounded person. I'm also trying to just teach them for knowledge rather than just trying to just teach them to get the test grade.
Yeah. That's good. I can imagine you value that equally as well, like actually taking away tangible, like real world, not necessarily real world skills, but more of a life focus as opposed to just like, this is how you can get an A star, this is how you can get a B or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, there's some kids who are just insanely talented, and you just sit there, you're just like, there's absolutely nothing I can do here that will help you. Like, you're just too good at this.
Mm.
Like, but
Yeah,
some
we
kids
know
also
it's
don't
that.
listen.
I guess like, I mean, I've got I can ask a billion questions on teaching, but it's not the time for that. But I guess one closing thing I want to ask about more, I guess more personal to you, more about your perception of it. Like, as a person of color, we're both ethnic minorities.
Yeah.
Especially looking at what's happened so far this year and last year in 2020, do you
Yeah.
feel some sort of way about like teaching at an independent school versus a state school? Like,
See,
would you prefer to work with people that you would recognize and have more of a personal impact on?
this is the thing, right? Like, this has always been kind of a moral kind of battle in my head, right? But at the end of the day, these kids didn't ask to be in the situations they were in. They didn't ask to have parents that were kind of well off enough to put them through private school.
Yeah.
They're just trying to be a kid. They're trying to learn. It's more about kind of, I'm just trying to teach them to be a well-rounded adult, be equal in that sense, but also kind of a benefit of being a form tutor as well. And a benefit which I'll see if like kind of further down the line when I end up getting like a younger year's form is that you'll be able to kind of make them aware of their own privileges. Like, I've not had to do it yet, but some other teachers have kind of called kids out, just being like, you don't want to fall into being that stereotypical white privileged male, because this is an all boys school. There's a lot of kids that will fall into that trap, and it's kind of up to us to make sure that try and look out for them so that they don't kind of succumb to that stereotype. I would love to honestly teach kids that are kind of more like me and show them that they're not always kind of a white male teacher. But I think I'm already kind of doing that in this department, because my department is largely Caucasian. I'm like, the chemistry department, I am the only person of color, which isn't a bad thing at all. But I think it's good that I quite like that I've come in and I'm kind of showing these kids that chemistry isn't as white dominated as it's always made out to be. I mean, throughout history, chemistry is constantly white, male, pale.
Yeah.
Researchers. So it's kind of, I want to break the cycle somewhere, at least with teaching. And especially because there's a lot of kids that, kind of Asian kids at the school, kind of other ethnic minorities. And I feel quite proud standing in front of the classroom teaching them, because it's like, for once, their teacher isn't a white guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I would love to kind of, obviously I'm not in any rush to change schools, but it'd be nice, obviously, once I've kind of got qualified and got everything, somewhere down the line, it would be nice to kind of teach some kind of kids in a less privileged position and kind of give my expertise to them. It would be like, be great inspiration.
Yeah. Because I guess now that you say it, it's, it is the case that no matter what you do, as a ethnic minority, you're always going to be, well, the minority.
Yeah.
And like, it would be great to work in a state school as well. But obviously, like, as you said, you're still going to be one of a few, people of color in your department. So I guess that impact is always measurable in some degree. You can argue like it'd be better or worse either or, but
yeah,
irrespective, like, it's still a great achievement, even on you yourself to be where you are. So that's a cool thing.
Yeah, thank you, man. No, I'm just, yeah, I don't know. It's hard, especially coming from private school, like, and kind of being so actively involved in kind of one, like, I wouldn't really call myself right wing at all. Like, I'm nowhere near. I'm definitely quite left wing as well. So the fact that I'm working at private school sometimes feels a bit kind of counterintuitive, but like I said earlier, I don't think private schools are the problem. I think it's the problem are kind of the people who don't recognize their privilege and kind of take advantage of that. That's more of the problem. It's like I said, it's the kids didn't ask to be in the situation. They didn't ask to be born to a more privileged family. They're just trying to be a kid.
Yeah, for sure. I know what you mean. I can't wait to see Vonn's PSHE lessons.
Oh my! I've taken a few sixth form ones, but because they're upper sixth, because they're year 13s, like, they really don't like. They're the ones who would benefit the most. Like, they're the ones, because the PSHE lessons are more kind of to do, like, had someone it was like their online brand, like branding themselves online, like all their social media is a brand, stuff like that, or just like mental health and stuff. Like, those are the more PSHE lessons for year 13s.
Mad.
But at the same time, these are kind of 17, 18-year-old kids who really don't give a shit about anything. So there's a balance. Like, it's the PSHE lessons are nice, especially when you get to kind of talk a bit more from experience, especially at the moment when they're going into uni. It's nice to be able to give some kind of uni advice to them, from my standpoint.
That's
especially
true.
because I'm like straight out of uni. Like, they can ask me questions no matter what. And especially, like, I've been asked to do, just give some more ideas about budgeting, like for some of their UCAS sessions. Like, one of my teachers asked me, like, oh, Vonn, you've just come straight out of uni. Like, I've got this list of stuff you should budget for. Are there any other things that, like, I need to add because you would know? Because he was quite old. So, like, there's so much stuff that you don't realize you take into account for when you go into uni as a student. Like washing machines.
Oh man, that hurt.
£5 for a wash and dry. It was like $4.50 for wash and dry where I was, but minimum £5 you had to put in. The Wi-Fi didn't work in the room, so sometimes it would just take your money, or it would lock your wash in without even starting. You couldn't call the number because there was no Wi-Fi or like connection in the room, so you just sit there like.
Yeah, it's this Circuit, I think, isn't it? They're flipping.
Circuit was
terrible.
It was Circuit, I think it was. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so angry now. The last time I was in the halls, I had the same problem. I tried to put a wash in. They took my money and I didn't wash the clothes. I couldn't call them. And I was like, you know what? I'll call them in a week. Can I just like repress that memory until just now? I've got like £50 in that account still.
Oh no.
So, I want to cancel this podcast and call them out. That was so bad. Oh, my number one tip to anyone in first year is like, just go home to do your washing. Just go home.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm triggered.
Should we move on to the chemistry question? moving on.
Yeah, on a lighter topic. Yeah. So what did you do for A level? We did maths, perf, maths, physics, and chemistry, and biology. Right?
No. In first year, in year 12, I picked further maths, chemistry, and economics.
Oh, econ. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, econ was kind of that DOS subject for me. Admittedly, I was a lazy student, and econ was just a subject where it seemed fun at the time as well. Like, the teacher for economics at the time was genuinely such a good teacher for economics. But yeah, like I did it because it was a little bit different from just maths and science, because it was a little bit more written based, and it was just a really interesting subject. I decided to choose it.
Yeah,
kind of wish I did physics now, though.
Interesting.
Yeah,
physics is a lot harder though, and it's a lot more a lot more pressure in physics.
That's the thing. I really didn't like the physics department at our school, and it's annoying because when I got to uni chemistry, physics was such a huge part of it that I would have benefited on from early on. But then it's quite funny because it all came around in a circle. I ended up doing my master's research in physical chemistry, so I had to deal with loads of physics anyway.
Madness. At least you got it done. Yeah. Like it didn't hold you back.
No. It ended up being my most favorite part of chemistry. It's chemistry of inorganic chemistry, organic, and inorganic, physical, and organic. And I ended up quite enjoying physical the most. I mean, it was most mathsy. So.
Okay, nice. I don't know the difference between the three, so I can't ask any questions without going off for an hour. Yeah. But it's definitely good to know your specialism, I guess, or your main area of interest. I think that's the mistake that I made of engineering. I just picked it and I'm I'm going to enjoy this, but half of what I do is just crap. It's a lot of I mean, obviously, second year, you specialize as you go on, but first and second year for me was I don't enjoy 90% of this.
Yeah. I think it's the same for quite a lot of subjects, unless it's something more, I don't know, I guess the only subject I can really think of off the top of my head where they had choice was probably history, where they could choose specific things to do in, whereas all the sciences are all kind of, you have to be quite broad in. Even my girlfriend doing film studies, not all of the topics that they're given are really interesting either. A lot of stuff is just kind of I think one of the modules is kind of just old white people non-talking films.
Oh yeah,
who wants to study that? And it was kind of even that's boring.
we're gonna get cancelled for saying that,
we are well.
People love that black and white, no audio movies.
Yeah, I mean, how many of your audience from Swaziland really want to listen to no audio movies?
Oh yeah, just so guys know, we're the second highest ranked podcast in Swaziland. Shout out to us.
Shout out Swaziland, yeah.
Shout out Swaziland, man. I think it's Eswatini now. It's called.
Oh yeah.
A couple of years ago. All Wakanda. It's all the same. But nah, we went off topic slightly. So what?
Yeah. So
econ's actually I should have done econ in hindsight. I went for physics instead of econ because I thought I already saw sweets in school. I already know buy low and sell high.
It was good in the sense that it just gave, obviously econ at uni is so different from econ at A level, but even econ at A level gives you a bit of insight at least into just how the world works a little bit. And I think if it wasn't for econ, I wouldn't have got as much of an appreciation for the politics as well.
Okay.
Because studying econ at A level, you had to kind of do a bit of knowledge reading and stuff on just politics and how stuff, just how everything is, and just laws and stuff like that.
I can also say, I don't know what it was on your chemistry degree, but in engineering, there's a lot more writing than I would have thought. Obviously, scientific reports, technical reports.
Yeah.
And it's obviously I'm not going to say I would have done like English A level. That's a bit too much writing, but like econ's a nice balance between like the mathematical concepts and also having to communicate that as well. Because maths and further maths, you didn't do any communication. It's just like
absolutely none.
Differentiate and then that's it. I didn't even be working out. I just put my answer and that's it. Cool.
I mean, was it in further FC1, further core one? Was it when it was I don't remember what it was. It was just I think was it proof by induction or something where there were like for the exam you had to write like a few sentences of like, oh, this shows this and this shows this, therefore this shows this and it's proved, and we simplified it down to like 6 words because we were just that lazy.
It was like if x equals 1, it's true. If f equals n, it's true. Therefore,
it wasn't even therefore. It was just the circle.
Oh yeah, it was like dot.
I think I do appreciate the writing in econ and also the report writing in chemistry. When like I really hated the board that we were on in chemistry because it was OCRB, which is scrapped now. And we had to do that individual investigation, which is basically like was it EPQ? And you basically just had to like write the scientific report. But I quite enjoyed that because that was a good introductory to writing reports at uni. And it was quite interesting because the one I got in year 13 was electrochemistry, which is then what I ended up doing for my master's. So it was quite nice. It felt like a well-rounded character development in a movie.
Yeah. Nice. I forgot we're anime boys here. We've got to speak to the anime tribe.
Yeah. I've been watching Attack on Titan recently. I've only just started it, but yeah.
Nice. I like Attack on Titan. I started Hunter x Hunter.
I've not watched. I need to start getting into more anime, man. But I'm enjoying it. Right, before we get off topic again. I did further maths, chemistry, and economics, and I was pretty set. On doing maths at uni at one point. I think it was, and it felt like it felt a bit weird because as the year went on, I started to really like chemistry a lot more because it was just it felt more applied. It felt a bit more investigative. Like I could actually see how everything in the world was working, to be a bit cliche. Whereas maths at the time anyway was just numbers, which I really enjoyed doing. But then as like time went on, I kind of started seeing, right, that maths felt a bit forced on me. Like everyone around me was like, oh, one's a maths guy. And I don't know whether it's me being kind of stubborn, but I didn't want to do what everyone else wanted me to do. Like I've had the same mindset from early on. Like I was very, very sure from like year 11, I didn't want to go into medicine at all. Like I knew I wasn't cut out for medicine. It didn't interest me. So I snipped that in the bud. I was like, no guys, I know people want me to do medicine, but no, I'm not doing that. And then I felt kind of the same about maths as year 12 went on. I think kind of a driving thing of that was, something that, I'm not going to say the teacher's name, but it was one that you weren't really a fan of. One of our maths teachers. But something she said, she was like, she likes doing maths, but she doesn't really like maths at uni kind of level. And I thought that was like, it kind of stuck on my head because I would turn around, I'd see kind of James Holland and Patrick Coakley, just kind of really getting into maths and really getting into like true problems in maths and things. And I thought that didn't really interest me, that side. Like I just liked manipulating the numbers and getting the answer at the end and problem solving, like, but not as much kind of maths thinking and problem solving as they did. Like they had maths brains. I for sure did not. Whereas in chemistry, you still get the maths because you get it in the physics, you get it in the calculations, you get it in kind of quantum mechanics, and just kind of energy calculations and stuff. You even get to kind of solve Schrodinger's equation a few times. And it's like, I prefer that side of maths where you are given some numbers and you have to use kind of the right equations to get the right answer at the end. And I kind of was when I went to the Eton summer school, where I just had this, I did maths and chemistry at the summer school, and I had this super crazy chemistry teacher. Kind of, he had like the stereotypical like crazy nutty hair, and he was just going wild at everything in chemistry. Like, he was like, you could see his excitement, and like, it might be a bit cliche, but like, that genuinely inspired me. I was like, yeah, chemistry's crazy interesting. Especially with the experiments, like, it was very hands-on, which I enjoyed.
Okay.
Like, and then I kind of came back and had to kind of break the news to everyone that I wasn't doing maths. And I dropped further maths in year 13, which is
top 10 anime betrayal right there, man.
It was. It felt disheartening because some of my favorite teachers are my further maths teachers, and I just kind of, I think another thing that played into it was, in year 12, in the applied maths module, so in mechanics and stats, so it was M1 and S2, I got B's in the tests in the AES levels at the time, which B's aren't bad. I tell my students all the time, B's aren't bad. Obviously, when I was averaging A's, A stars all the time, like, it feels like a bit of a gut punch to everyone else who struggled to get the grades, but to me it felt kind of disheartening, which it feels like a cop out to say because I know B's aren't bad. But yeah, I was just like, that was kind of a bit of a wake up call, because I thought, I got complacent, and I was like, oh no, it's fine, it's going to come to me in the exam. And then it didn't. And then I thought maybe I just wasn't interested enough. And then that was one decision which I don't regret at all. And I think it's like, one thing I want to say to everyone is just like, kind of, no matter what everyone tells you to do, you have to take a step back and think, is that really what I want to do as well? Because if it's not, like, if you feel that feeling in your stomach, if you feel it in your gut, and you get that little kind of nudge that, hey, this isn't quite what I want to do, then you should maybe explore that and feel it out a little bit and kind of think, maybe this subject's not right for me. I don't regret my decision at all. Not one bit.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, nice flex on the A-star average gag. I like that.
No, it's...
But no, I'm joking. I know what you mean. Like, obviously, all your grades are always going to be relative to, like, your performance, right?
Yeah.
No, I completely hear you. Like, at the time, I was like, oh, how can this guy... Because obviously, like, I'm not interested in chemistry. And as soon as you came back and told us, like, oh, you're going to drop... I was like, what? Why? Like, maths is incredible. Like, I had a similar, I guess, realization to you. I'm looking at the Jameses and Patricks. I'm like, these guys actually just love the maths. I think I'm more of a problem solver. Like, I enjoy the math challenge. I enjoy, like, competing with, like, you and Carl. But I'm not that, motivated to see, like, what's it called again? The triangle. Like, yeah, these, like, theorems and stuff. Like, that's why I didn't do maths at uni.
I have so many friends at maths at uni, and, like, they're just, when they do maths work and start problem solving, I look at their work and I'm just like, I don't know how this is in your test. Like, this just looks impossible.
It's nuts. One thing I noticed, that guys that do maths just have terrible handwriting, and I was like, I don't want to be the guy that's good. So I
always used to say at school, I was like, the neater your maths is, the worse you are at maths. Which holds true a little bit, but now I preach to my students, I'm like, because some of them, their maths is appalling in chemistry, and I'm just like, you're not showing any of your working out. I can't give you any marks. Like, I'm not seeing how your brain's flowing, and that's just going to confuse you in exam. Like, when you go back to check your answer, you're going to be lost as well.
It's true. That's massive. Because I mean, even to this day, I don't do enough working out. I don't take enough notes. But like, I realize that even in life, like, even when I'm doing this podcast and I'm editing it, like, later today, and I'm trying to get, like, the clips, I'm like, I wish I just took some flipping notes so I know when Vonn says this.
As you go along, so and you could have taken the timestamp and written it down. Yeah, no, I get you. I feel you.
Even right now, it's like, now that I just said it to myself, now you're such an idiot for not doing it this whole time. We're like 40 minutes in. But it's like, just having a process is so powerful. In maths, obviously, it's one, like, to see what you're working out is, but in
anything,
general,
man, of anything.
I can imagine like if you're writing essays, you got to have references, like just keeping track of your references, just having fundamentals about being organized, I guess. And that's never a bad thing.
Yeah. No, yeah, being organized is never a bad thing. Anyway, I think another thing, right, with why I chose chemistry, why I dropped further maths was another thing. I was just lazy at the time as well. Like, I think that's something. I mean, Carl said he was lazy as well with some of his like job applications and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
but economics was just so much easier. Like, I realized I did the numbers and I realized to get an A in economics at A level, I needed to get a C overall. So my year 13 would just be DOS.
Mm.
So I kind of just sat my way through economics in year 13 and was just like, even if I get a C, I still get an A at the end. But
Yeah.
I'm annoyed because I wish I took the challenge of further maths or physics. But that's me now, grown up and mature, wanting that challenge.
Mm. But like, your point on econ is massive. I feel like that's something that I didn't even appreciate until like early this year. It's like, yeah, I mean, obviously you have your own preferences, like a challenge would have been cool as well, but fundamentally you're at school, you're at uni to get the grades, to get the degree, to get the A levels. Like, if you know that I can put in less work and get a better grade here and then spend more time like doing my own obviously assuming you spend your own time doing your own stuff, like you did EPQ or something, like learn to play piano or whatever, like it just makes so much more sense. What's the point putting yourself through extra struggle unless you're going to enjoy the challenge or unless you enjoy the physics? Why do a harder A level? Why do a harder module at uni if you can just get the same result?
That's the engineer speaking of you, though. I've read a thing where engineers are just so lazy, they'll put in extra work so that it's easier for them to be lazy.
Literally, like I was looking at all my third year modules. I'm like, I really want to do AI, but is it going to be easier than intro to psychology? No.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do intro to psychology
like,
and film studies next year.
You have to think, right? Like, it's all balanced. It's like, will it benefit me? Like, will it be easier for me to take this module and then me get the grade at the end? Like, easier for me to get the first, because then I can focus my like attention like better. Or say in the terms of AI, like if I take AI, would then that benefit me if I choose a career in AI later on? Because then I have that knowledge of it.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's like balancing your reward structure, I guess, to accommodate you. Because otherwise, it's like you're just doing. Like I was gonna do nano. I think it's a nano something. Just because I thought it sounded. I don't even care about it. Yeah, but it's like it just sounded interesting. But I looked at the spec. It's like one of the hardest modules. Like it's got the lowest pass rate. I'm like, why am I putting myself through this for like a bit of interest when I can just do intro to film, which is like everyone gets a first in it. So it just makes. Obviously,
film's
I'm not
hard.
going to mess about.
I've sat through I've had to do some like essay proofreading and stuff with my girlfriend for film and like breaking down. I think I watched The Sixth Sense like 3 times because I had to break down the film and like cut it for her while she was like doing work.
Mad.
That's so much work. It's like a different kind of work because it's basically English language but harder.
Yeah. To be fair, I thought it's fundamentally difficult.
Yeah, everything's difficult in their own way. I always say.
I think I just like, because obviously maths, physics, most of the science and most of STEM is like, it's either right or it's wrong. Like
that's the thing, yeah.
It can only be 2. Whereas in film, it's like, I can talk about the color blue. And even though it'll be harder, like I'll enjoy it a bit more than flipping nanotech. So.
Hey man, I like nanomaterials. I really got into that in uni.
That's why you do chemistry, man.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'll look into it, but like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, balancing, thinking about what you actually want to get out of it is more important than, as you say, like what other people think or like what sounds.
Yeah. Like, no matter what you do, someone's going to have an opinion. So why give a damn about what they think at the end of the day?
Honestly.
Obviously,
Yeah. And
obviously that's in terms of kind of your choices for kind of uni and work and stuff. I'm not advocating for anything illegal or like immoral.
Yeah, of course. But that's the thing. Like, if I go for a job and I say either I got a 2-1, but I did nanotech, or I say I got a first, but I did film, they're not going to say, oh, but you did. They're going to say you got a first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like,
And even you with
if you're going for a job that's completely unrelated to like what you studied, they're going to take the first.
Mm.
I feel anyway. Like at the end of the day, a degree's a degree. Like degrees are hard. You get put through so much shit in a degree.
That's the thing. I mean, you say that, but you decided to do a master's. Like, what was all that about?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So the reason I did a master's, right? The reason I did a master's was when I was applying, because my older brother had already gone through uni at the time where he was just at uni. He did a placement year, and he said the biggest thing you can do in uni is probably do a placement year.
Okay.
I think it's quite invaluable. So I was looking up unis that had a placement year with them, and a lot of the times you could do an integrated master's, so a 4-year master's with a placement year, and it would still take the same amount of time. So I thought, if I'm doing a placement year, I might as well get a master's at the end of it. Also, in Bristol, there wasn't a choice. If you did a placement year, you were on the integrated masters. So that was just that.
Because I guess on my course, if I did a placement, it would be like first year, second year placement, come back, do third year, and then integrated masters. So that'd be 5 years. How have you, was your placement year counted as your final third year?
Yeah. So how chemistry ran, so because the placement course, the year in industry course, has been run for so long in chemistry, it's in Bristol anyway, it's one of the biggest in the country in terms of placements, which I didn't realize, but
nice.
Our head of course kind of showed it's like, yeah, we have so many partners in chemistry because we've been running for so long. But how it works is you're treated it as an integrated master in the first place. You have to get your 50% to get to the next year. You get your placement in third year, and you have to start applying for them kind of the start of second year. And then during third year, you're given distance learning courses, which were, for us, it like our uni was quite good because you just had to do online tests for them. Whereas other unis, I think in Bath, they had to do, they had to come back for exams, which was a bit unfair. Yeah. Whereas we just had the job. We did our distance learning courses throughout the year. You just had to complete it by a certain date. And then you also had an industry report to do as well. So a research project to do. And then that went towards your third year. But it was only, so the year breakdown for our degree was second year was 15%. Your placement year could only be 10% because that's what the uni said.
Yeah.
Because there could be so much discrepancy between people's job experiences. 10% is the max they could give for the third year. Then your fourth year was 75%. So it was quite a big thing for our master's year. But yeah, we couldn't. So in a normal 4-year course, you're able to say at the end of your third year, if you don't want to do a master's, you can just say, I'm done. I'd like to just graduate with my degree, essentially. But on a placement year integrated master's, you couldn't do that. You had to go for the 4 years.
Okay. And I guess that means you don't have like a B-Sci and M-Sci, it's just a straight M-Sci.
No, I have a straight M-Sci, yeah.
Madness. I never knew that. I just assumed it would be an extra year.
Yeah. I think some unis might do that, but like 4 years is 4 years for us, so why not?
Yeah. I guess there was no option for you to convert your placement to a full-time job afterwards, or is that something that they do?
It depends on the company. Depends on the company. So smaller companies that I worked in, and a few others, have at the end of your degree, they could contact you and kind of offer you a job.
Yeah.
I just really wasn't. I just didn't feel like going back into research was for me. And that was another choice I had to make. I had to kind of think, do I really want to do research, or is it just kind of what's expected of someone at this level? But yeah, I just said no. I need a break from research. It was just so it can get so boring.
Yeah. I can imagine, like, unless it's something that you really, really want to do, like, it's just a bit tedious at times.
Honestly, sometimes things go wrong. You don't know why it's going wrong. You're banging your head there. And then at the same time, your mental health is dropping because you're just like, this is just so much stress for nothing.
Yeah. That's kind of what I didn't want to do. I mean, I'm still considering a PhD or even like a commercial one. It's like called an NGD. I don't know if it's similar in other industries where it's
yeah. That's interesting.
funded by like industry, which is pretty cool. But like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's 4 years of like just mental health battles. So I've got to consider.
Yeah. It's like late nights unpaid, essentially. Like, you're paid a salary, but you're still working late. And when you work out the maths, like I think in my research group, the guy doing a PhD above me said he worked out the hours he's working is getting paid basically minimum wage.
Mm.
Yeah, well, I don't know whether I'd want that, but for the people that make it through, like fair enough, man. They're like, it's insane.
That's the thing. And like, obviously not talking them out of doing it. Like, even me myself, I'm considering it, but it's like, there's a lot to think about. There's a lot to think about. I wouldn't just like go straight into a PhD.
Nah, yeah, I get you. I guess the thing, you have to really think about your choices. Like, from what I'm getting from what we're talking about, like you just got to think about everything, like really do it for yourself at the end of the day.
Mm. Yeah, because even outside of like mental health, like it really is 4 years, well, 3 to 4 years of life. Plus, it's like you got to pay for it. You have to.
Yeah.
You can't do. I mean, some people do work part time with a PhD, but you typically can't do a regular job. So you have to find a way to fund that as well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just something to think about, isn't it?
I mean, there are like scholarships and stuff, or CDTs and like programs where essentially you get essentially paid to do it.
Yeah.
But
you can even get student funding as well, I think, to some degree.
Yeah. Even then, it's not a lot. It's not a lot. You're still living quite a student life for a bit.
Yeah. That's a big plus, getting to chill on campus. But I'll be like, what? How old? I'm 22 now. I'm going to graduate at like 25. I'm going to be here until like 28, 29 if I do a PhD.
No, but that,
madness.
I think that's sort of one thing which people don't realize. That like people think that uni, like everyone's 18 to 22, but like I've met so many people that are older. My girlfriend's 26, right?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, and I know people that are going back, like some of my cousins are going back at age of 30, 31, back to uni 30. Like it's just, people just go back to get a degree. Why not? And it's never too late to get a degree or to like improve your opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. As long as you're going for the right reasons.
Oh yeah. As long as you're doing it for you and you're not just going for, I don't know, crappy reason.
How did you find uni? Like, I don't think I've ever asked you, like, based on your 4 years you were here, reflecting on that, like, you enjoyed it, or would you do it again?
No, I loved it. I enjoy, 100% I'd do it again. I would definitely go to Bristol again. I've met some incredible friends, incredible people, incredible girlfriend. But I didn't expect, like, there were so many things I didn't expect. Like, you get thrown into adult life essentially, but you're not, like, people still don't treat you like an adult. And just like the mental health aspect of it, like, it's such a big thing that you don't realize. And then if you don't acknowledge it, it could just go so bad. Like, and I didn't really acknowledge mine until kind of later on. But yeah, no, it was it was like a roller coaster. Like it was the highest of highs and the lowest of lows at uni. I find. But at the same time, like, I learned so much about myself, about the world, about different cultures. Like, I feel like everything kind of opened up a bit more, just kind of culturally, job wise, just life, everything feels a bit more open. Whereas, like, I don't want to slander people that didn't choose to go to uni. Everyone has their own reasons, but like, I would have hated to kind of be stuck in my hometown, just still stewing, going to the same places. Like, being able to go out a little bit and just meet different people just changes your perspective on life a little bit. Like, it makes you a bit more appreciative of stuff.
Yeah.
At the same time, you bump into so many like crappy people. Like, did you find in Bristol, like, the class, like, difference and the class shock to be such a big thing for you?
Yeah, honestly, like, I feel like I've told a story before, but literally my first or second day, I moved into my flat. I went to one of the girls that was living with me. I'm like, oh, have you sorted out the rent payment plan yet? Like, do you know how that's going to go? She's like, oh, no, my dad paid for that. I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Your dad paid like $8,000 up front for rent. Like, Never
I
had
know,
that.
I know. It's just it's really two different uni experiences. Like you have a uni experience when like you're in a privileged position that someone can pay for your rent, and then all the money you use is going for like just you essentially.
Mm.
It's like obviously I know some people only had like 3K maintenance loan, but their rent was paid for, and yes, they struggled, but they still had that kind of backup that
Mm.
they weren't going to lose a house. Whereas kind of for a lot of us who came from state schools, having to pay rent ourselves, it was just like, how am I going to fund this? How am I going to fund this and live my life at the same time and
Mm.
still try go to the same events without like socially isolating myself? It was
Yeah,
hard.
that's massive.
Especially because like a lot of my friends asked me where I was going on the ski trip, and I was just like, I'm not never going to afford that.
Yeah, likewise. Crazy.
A, I don't like skiing. B, I don't want to fund something which I don't want to do.
For real. That's one thing that really, I mean, this is a conversation for another day, but like, it's really kind of upset me about St. Mark's. It's like, I don't know if you remember, we had like the maths trip in year 12, year 13, and the teacher just asked, like, half of maths went to it, most of maths went to it, and they didn't ask me. I didn't go. They didn't invite me to go. And I was
I
like,
know.
I've never been able to do anything in the school. Like, I couldn't afford to do ski trip. I didn't really join
I think that was such
POV.
a shame, man.
I was like, that really
I
just,
think that was annoying. Like, I understood why people went, but I think it should have been made available to more people because we were in such a like a. So I've spoken to Carl before, and it's like St. Mark's was great if you were at the top because you were focused on. If you were anywhere in between, you were kind of left in the dust. Which I do understand. It's a funding issue of state schools, and that's like a conversation for another day.
yeah.
But yeah, it just sucks to not have been going through that. And like, I understand that I was quite privileged because I got to go to a lot of the trips. I didn't go to obviously ski trip or anything, but like I got to go to the maths trip.
Yeah.
I
Was it
ended
Belgium
up,
I think we had? It was like a
yeah,
Belgian trip at some point.
there was loads of random trips for history, which I never went on and didn't do. Hate history. Like I managed to go to the summer schools. Like I was given the opportunity to go to the summer schools. Even though that was funded by like the local council, I still got the opportunity to go and like bet myself in a way.
Yeah.
Whereas anywhere in between, they weren't given any sort of alternative to be like, oh, you can use this to write in your CV or anything, or to give you a bit of experience somewhere, like, or for your personal statements. It was just like, you weren't really given much else at our school.
That's the thing. And what annoys me is the most, like, I'm not going to get into it too much, but it's like, obviously trips and, summer schools are quite expensive, but like, if you just say, oh, there's this organization called like SEO London, just check that out.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's Rare, check that out. They don't even, like, you can tell some of the teachers didn't even know themselves in order to help you.
Yeah.
Some of the free stuff were like, oh, here's a reading list. They didn't really, I don't know, maybe they tried more for some people, but I'm just triggered because like, obviously the math trip, like I did further maths.
Yeah, I feel like
Surely I
everyone's
would
done
be
that should
in
have. I
line for
think that would have benefited people a lot more. And what I find from independent schools is just the extracurricular. Obviously they can fund it more, but they have such an important like focus on extracurricular stuff. Like lunches are longer so that they can fit in things like sports, science clubs, maths clubs, things like that. Extension, like the lunches are longer for that reason, to have just other stuff they can do. Which obviously at our school they couldn't do that. But yeah, man, it's actually didn't get to go on the maths trip. Like,
Yeah, that hurts me to this day, man. I was like, the only, like, I mean, I love Simona, but like, I do further maths, man. Why do you think someone who does further maths is less inclined to this than someone who's does regular maths?
yeah.
Nah, it's calm. But yeah, it is interesting. I definitely think uni is, like going back to what we said before, like it's an experience, and it's something that shapes you a lot. Like, I don't know if you feel like you're any different now compared to when you were in St. Mark's.
Oh yeah, 100%. And you're still growing. Even afterwards, you're still learning, still growing, I never want to be complacent and sat still, like wanting to be the same person. Like, I always want to change, but yeah, no matter like how bad or good uni is, I mean, you just got to take the experience for what it is. Can't change it now once you've already been, right? got to take whatever's good from it and learn from whatever wasn't good.
Yeah. Honestly, I guess the last question I have for you, unless you have anything for me, is I was going to say, if you were talking to, year 12 on right now, what would you say to yourself?
Oh, I just got deep. I don't know. I'd probably tell him to just enjoy life a bit more, man, because I was just so focused on exams. I know I definitely kind of spurned a few relationships here and there with people just for the sake of my exams, or just kind of, I could just live life a bit more and to just take better notice of my mental health. Like, mental health isn't just a thing where it's like, oh, you have to be having a really bad day to have your mental health. Sometimes it is just like, oh, I don't feel like getting out of bed today. Why is that? Like, I feel like I would tell myself to normalize feeling like crap sometimes. And like, I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to have that perfectionist mentality all the time. To just take a bit of a risk and just do something for the sake of it. But yeah, I don't know. Year 12 me was a very different me, I think.
Yeah, it's a bit strange. Like, I'm thinking about it in my head as well. Like, what was school like in year 12, year 13? And I was like, it's funny that just now you're saying like you would have been taken a bit easier. I'm like, this guy was head boy. This guy had all the clout going on. I'm like, it's crazy how
I had rear of the year going on as well, man. I was voted
rear of the year.
I've still got that trophy, still on my desk.
Oh man, I don't think I even got a trophy for most funny. I think I got like a certificate and like a high five from Javan, and that was it. It's like, yeah, you're a funny guy. Get the fuck out of the school. We don't want to see you again. Like, nah, I completely forgot about that. We had a lot of interesting awards, but nah, it is different. It is interesting to think back to how things were and like.
What would you say to yourself?
I wouldn't say a thing. Like, I thought about this a lot. Obviously, I've been doing the podcast for a while, but it's like, if I knew, would I have listened to anything I was told, 6 years ago? Like, most definitely not. My main problem back then was that I don't know. I mean, this is kind of a fresh answer. I haven't really thought about it in depth yet. But one thing that I thought I had in school that no one else kind of had was I had an easy run in terms of me and Michael were the one taking the piss the most. Like, I was always the one that was like shooting the shots, but no one ever really came for me.
Yeah.
I kind of went into uni with all this fire in my belly, but I never knew how to take things back. I never knew what it felt like to not get good grades or to have to struggle to get a job. Like, if I could go back and say anything, I'll just say, boy, you ain't shit. It's a whole wide world.
We could all say that to our younger selves, man. Like, I feel like we were so stubborn back then for any sort of advice. Like, that's the thing. Like, as much as we really ragged on like some of our maths teachers, like, they were just trying to do their job, man.
Honestly,
they could have had the longest day in the world. I don't know, like, their dog could have died. They come in and they have to deal with us just like screaming, stats ain't shit. Like,
that's the one.
But I don't know. I feel like it's just been a bit more respectful in that sense. But I mean, that's something I can say now, being a teacher. But
it's true though, because I think when you're growing up, you kind of see teachers as just like they exist from 9 until 3 just to annoy you, and that's kind of it. You don't really appreciate what they are. But as you say, you're just human beings. A lot of you guys aren't like, I want to teach and inspire the next generation. Like, a lot of teachers are just getting paid. They're feeding their kids. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, any job isn't worth your mental health and just your life. Like, sometimes things are so above your pay grade, like, it's not worth putting yourself through that extra stress. Like, yeah, I mean, some teachers I still to this day don't like, but some of the others, man, they were really just trying to make sure we didn't die, make sure we got at least somewhat of a decent education and just get us through. But like, you can't really blame someone for that.
Yeah, for real. And sometimes, like, I guess for me, well, I'll talk for me, not for everyone, but in my case, Yeah, there's still teachers I don't like to this day, but I appreciate that I was a troublesome kid. Like I understand why I never got head boy. I understand why they didn't want to take me on these trips. It's annoying, and obviously I think I
Yeah,
would appreciate it, but I get it.
yeah,
So you gotta cut people some slack, and you have to appreciate that. Yeah, as you said as well briefly before as well, it's like you're always looking at yourself and trying to improve and trying to be the best version of yourself. So
yeah. I wish I did more
realizing that,
extracurricular stuff though. So is that?
I was gonna say, like, realizing that you can always improve is also admitting that
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
the best of
No,
you right now. So
that's what I live by. But yeah, I
mm,
wish I did more extracurricular stuff. I wish I like actually got more into a sport or like some sort of like out of school stuff. But even for uni, I didn't do that, and I wish I did. But at the end of the day, I admit I was lazy. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to put myself out there and do something different, which I
mm,
wish I did. Whereas now I've taken up like baking.
man,
Like,
you and Carl
it's
can make that 10-year anniversary math giving cake, man.
oh man, maths giving, yeah, we know it needs to be brought back.
Honestly, straight after lockdown, we're having a math giving party.
See, that's no. See, just before we end it, right? That's what I really appreciated by that teacher, Dr. Cook, right?
Mm,
She let us have something to just celebrate maths and have maths giving, and to just have a lesson where we could just eat some food and just have a laugh about maths.
mm.
Like, it's those small things as a teacher. Like, yes, she wasn't really teaching us anything that lesson, but did we benefit more from that lesson than if we did just another random lesson on like long division? 100%. We will remember that lesson more than if we did a lesson on like
Mm.
Pythagoras or something like.
That's the thing. Like, I don't think I've ever said this before actually, but on Dr. Cook, like, I can't remember when it was. I don't think it was in sixth form. I think it was like earlier when she wasn't even teaching me. But she was talking some smack about like blah blah blah, whatever. I don't remember all of it. And then she just goes like, the people who are the most interesting are people who are the most interested. Like, to be interesting is to be interested, and basically just like listen, to listen more, ask more questions, be curious, and
Yeah,
like that, like literally changed the whole way of how I thought. I'm like, wow, like I still talk a lot, I still tweet a lot, but like, I don't know if you remember in school, I was like tweeting like,
dude, shut up.
like a motherfucker, man. I was like one of the loudest kids.
Every week you'd have another story about how you got run over by a bus or something. I don't know. I mean, like, you wouldn't come in for further maths, and then all you'd hear was Michael go, "Oh yeah, he got hit by a bus."
Got run over twice in school.
Yeah,
like I used to come up with so much stuff, but Dr. Cook's like, nah, just stay curious, man. Like, just keep enjoying life and stay curious. And that kind of, that was the shout out to Cook.
It's a shame. Like, I would like to speak to her again, but she's not at the school anymore. Like, she can't really search. Like, teachers have their stuff in complete private. Like, no idea where she is. But honestly, like, as just a teacher, she was one. Like, I was privileged to have loads of teachers that were really good. Like, Gold was amazing. I really like my Chakraborty was great for chemistry. Like, I really enjoyed my teachers. They like, I would think I was just lucky to have teachers that would let you do other stuff rather than just strict like teaching all the time.
Yeah, I guess it's teachers that appreciate you for you instead of you for your grade.
Yeah. True. Yeah, I hear that.
But yeah, man, I think that's what I got for you. This is the time to plug whatever you got to plug. Plug your baking company or whatever.
I've got nothing to plug. I don't really want to plug too much because I have to keep things private in case students find me.
Very good point. I guess shout out to Paul then.
I've got a food Instagram. It's a clever pun on my name, if you can have a think about what that might be. But yeah, I'm just plugging, reaching out for your mental health and taking care of yourselves, especially during lockdown, and just normalizing having a bad day and talking about it. But yeah, nothing else to plug really. Shout out to Jordan, shout out to everyone from St. Mark's that went to Bristol, and just this podcast, man. Yeah, no, nothing else to plug, just good vibes in life.
Nice. And as is accustomed to every St. Mark's guest, you have to say the customary fuck B-side.
Shut up.
All right, man.
All right. Take care, man. Take care. Nice speaking to you. Thank you for having me.